It's time, Jason.
It's time. I'm back.
It's time. Well, I was actually thinking more along the terms of, it's time for the oppressive summer in Texas.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little gnarly out there.
I was thinking today about how, traditionally when people think about summertime, it's all like, we're going to the beach. You're going to go around outside. You're going to have fun in the sun with your friends, and it's summertime.
Yeah.
And my view of summertime is sitting at a bar after the sun has gone down, sweating my ass off.
Yep.
Just drinking like a horrible. It's the same way that all of modern culture has this idea of what wintertime and Christmas time is. It's like, oh, it's snow and it's lovely and it's whatever. And here it's just rainy and brown and shit. Like,
yes,
I don't even know why do we live here again?
Man, I don't know. I was thinking about it the other day. I'm kind of done with Austin. I don't know where else I would go.
Yeah,
but my job is here,
right?
And all of my friends are here.
Yeah,
and my house. And so it's like, but I was stuck in traffic. It was hot. It was 1:30 in the afternoon on a fucking Monday.
Yep.
And the interstate is just backed up to Kingdom Come.
Yep. That's Austin
and
for you.
And it just gets so hot and humid that it's like I'm starting to have flashbacks and seeing Viet Cong in the trees. The men in the black pajamas.
You're just in traffic and you just open the door to your car and jump out and you're like,
Didi Mao!
Well, welcome everybody to the Rage Select Podcast. We are now, I feel like, officially entering the summer weirdness of video games, where everything's slowing down. We got the whole season of cons is coming up. We get E3 is right around the corner, and then we'll have Gamescom Leipzig, TGS, PAX West, and then it'll be Christmas again. I mean, I guess the other thing for me is that the other day I looked at the date and I was just like, holy shit, are we almost halfway through 2014?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but this year is just flying by. I don't know. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's dragging like I
have no concept of time. I'm too busy.
Mm-hmm. You just live in the moment.
It's all just a series of things to do.
You're like the guy from Memento. You just have to keep tattooing like your grocery list on your left pec or whatever.
Yeah, but
check it out at the store.
Yeah, it's just like I've got this checklist, and every time I check something off, like 4 more things get added.
Yep. Well, is one of the things on your checklist drinking heavily? Because last week I think you did that.
That was
you succeeded that goal. You could check that one off.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah,
5 days in a row. I'm done.
You're in?
I'm done.
You're done for the entire summer?
I'm not done drinking.
Uh-huh.
But
you're gonna switch over to heroin for a little while, or
social obligations, and it's when you're sitting there watching C. Robert Cargill sing Spice Girls at 2 a.m, it's time to start questioning your life choices.
You just start back to you're back to Nam again. You're like Willem Dafoe. What am I doing here?
It's when you, Jeff, are taking care of someone at gyms, because when you're the caretaker, when you're the responsible one, that's when you know that the event has gone off the rails.
And it's funny when I am the one that is taking care of people and driving people home.
And it wasn't me, by the way.
30 minutes after the people at the bar that I go to all the time have actually cut me off. They said, I'll give you one more beer and then no more for you tonight.
Yeah.
And then I'm the one who's responsible. It's funny because Jason and I were talking. He was like, what were you talking with that guy about on Friday? And I'm just like, I don't know. It's like for 2 hours, you guys were having this really intense conversation. You had to get away from other people, and
lots of gesticulating. And there's pointing.
Right.
I heard yelling.
Yep.
At one point, and I was just like, I don't want any part of that.
I was drunk. I don't actually think I was having a conversation. Is that what happened was that I was drunk and somebody said the words Dark Souls to me. And then I started screaming at him. And the other part of that conversation, which is somebody going like, look, motherfucker, I'm not talking with you about this.
Yes.
We haven't been talking about this for the last 30 minutes.
Yes.
And you won't shut up.
That's happened before many times.
Well, it's a bad scene when you walk into the bar and somebody is immediately like, hey, do this shot of whiskey. You're like, I don't even have I don't even have a beer to chase it
while
with.
Everyone else was sitting around eating birthday cake.
Yeah, well.
And you guys were just sitting there slamming whiskey.
Friday night birthday cake. What am I, 12? Come on.
It was delicious cake.
I'm sure it was delicious.
No, instead you decided to act like you were 19.
This is true. This is very, very true. Yeah. Well, I don't know. You were telling me some stories about passing out in the back of an automobile.
Yeah.
That, I don't know if you really. Or hello, kettle. This is pot.
Yeah. That was, I didn't eat anything that entire day.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that little part where you're like, I didn't eat anything, and then we went and did shots.
Yeah, I had a lot of Jamesons, and then I was trying to talk to my group about what we were going to do next.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, well, I need to go lay down. I'm not feeling real good. I hit the tipping point. I overdid it.
Yeah.
And I said, I need to lay down. I'm feeling a little queasy. And they were like, okay, well, we could. And they were just talking over. Said, all right, you know what? I don't give a fuck what you guys do. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be in the truck laying down. Okay, just come get me. I don't care.
Yeah.
You work it out. And I just left.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, the one nice thing about getting that messed up on Friday was that I just slept all day Saturday.
Yeah.
Got up, watched my dog, posted stuff, then went back to sleep, then got up and ate and walked my dog again, and then just went back to sleep. So it was kind of nice. I don't know. I think I might have needed that, but I'm not entirely sure. Well, I tell you what, before we jump into the news here on the Rage Select podcast, I feel like we have the non-video game news section to cover. I don't know if we have, I can't remember because of all the short-term memory loss from the shots and stuff, the neurological damage, obviously, we're suffering on a weekly basis from lack of sleep and too much alcohol. I was trying to think of a joke to put on the end of there to make it less dark.
Alcoholism is no joke.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Batman, right?
Unless you're running naked through a Denny's, then it's hilarious.
I don't know. It's kind of funny right up until the point where people start throwing up in your house or punching you or dicking with your car or things like that.
It's true.
There's
some lines you don't cross.
Right. I had a friend who one time tried to start a fight in my living room. Not.
Yeah, that's offsides.
Not really.
Party's over.
That's where my TV is, bro.
Yeah.
So
Batman.
Yeah, let's talk about this. Well, I don't know if we've actually officially had a chance to speak of. We got one old news and one new news, right? The old news being the Batman Ben Affleck Bat Affleck costume reveal.
Yeah. Ears aren't long enough.
Is that your main thing?
Yeah, ears are too short. But it does look modeled after
what?
Dark Knight.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. It looks not modeled after Dark Knight, broad.
Yeah.
Short ears.
Yeah.
Not my preferred Batman costume, but
so you like long ear Batman?
I do.
What do you think about there've been a couple people? I think what was did Simon Bisley draw Batman at one point? And he had ridiculously 6 foot long ears.
I like the really long ears. But short ears. This picture, he just looks like Catman.
Yeah. Well, this is the one that everybody's seen when I'm standing in front. I kind of like the fact that they've got a much bigger Bat logo on him.
Yeah.
I kind of dig that.
I just hope the color is actually different from the suit itself.
Yeah, I don't know. In the light, it doesn't look like it's that much different. Yeah. I do kind of, this is a more high res version than the one that I've seen before, and I do like the fact that the costume is it's reinforced Kevlar rather than plates, than armor plates. Yeah, that it looks more. Now he doesn't have the underpants on top, and let's see, but I'm not seeing a lot of the whole cyber bat armor shit that we're seeing. Yeah,
from the Nolan films,
right?
Yeah.
Where it was actually a plot point where he was like, "I want to be able to turn my head because I can't turn my head in this garbage."
See, what most people don't realize is they didn't just release a picture; they actually released a clip.
Oh, did they?
Of him in the costume, and that's what we're looking at now. But it's Zack Snyder, so it's in really super slow motion, so you can't tell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Wah, wah.
Do you think there's room? Do you think there's room these days to put the outside underpants back on the?
Absolutely.
I think it looks better.
It's a guy dressed up like a bat. What does it matter if you put underpants on the outside?
I still don't like the fact that Superman's that Zack Snyder's Superman doesn't. That he's just. It's very one piece,
and there's no reason.
Why?
To put
the underpants on the outside?
Yeah.
Well, it breaks up the costume. I mean, did you see those pictures that people made where they actually put the Superman underpants on the Zack Snyder costume?
No.
And suddenly it was like Henry Cavill's dong bulge was not like, because when you look at him now, it's like there's nothing on his legs except the big old dong bulge, and then they put like the red underwear on him, and it's like, oh, this is your red underwear to take your eyes away from giant crotch bulge. Yeah, I don't know.
His super wang.
Super wang. Superman and his super wang. And what do we think about this Batmobile behind him?
It looks like a Batmobile.
Kind of a cross between the Tumbler and, I don't know.
And the older stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still holding out. I'm still holding reservation. I want judgment until I see an actual trailer. I mean, like, I wasn't the biggest fan of Superman, but whatever,
we'll see.
Like we talked about on Sequential Saturday, if you would have told, I was nervous when they cast James Gunn to do Guardians of the Galaxy, and now I cannot fucking wait to see Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So
hell, I was nervous when they cast Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Me too.
And we all know how that turned out.
Sure.
It basically ruined the internet for like 3 years. It was so good.
Yeah.
It just
Wait, 3 years. Has it been unruined yet? I've got the banner. I've been waiting with the confetti. Yeah,
it was just like, okay, everybody's logo on any social media and everyone's avatar is the Heath Ledger Joker,
right?
And then you got all these maladjusted idiot teens. I'm the Joker.
I just wish he had been a little bit funnier. I understand what they were going for, but I always liked the Joker when he would legitimately make you laugh, but was also terrifying at the same time. That's why I like the Mark Hamill Joker. And I gotta admit, the whole making a pencil disappear trick, even though how did you get the pencil to stand up on the table, whatever, was hilarious. It was like, that was awesome. I just wish there'd been a little bit more of that and a little bit less proselytizing about anarchy and fucking that and shit.
Giving speeches that didn't make any damn sense.
Well, there's that as well. But then also, you were telling me today that they now have announced a name for the Batman-Superman project.
Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Why in this day and age, Jason Murphy, would anybody use the word Dawn in a title?
Like Breaking Dawn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the joke, it's there. It's already there, right?
And I thought it was Dong of Justice.
That's what I'm saying.
And I was super excited.
Yeah. That would be a movie.
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman, Dong of Justice.
Yeah. And then Gary Marzipan shows up.
Right. Yeah.
And just whips it out and sends them all running away.
Or Loco Steve at that point.
The threat they can never face.
Which I gotta say, Quick Kick did a really awesome job taking this version, taking the sad Batman and turning him into sad Loco Steve.
It was beautiful.
I don't necessarily want to see Loco Steve that sad, because that's the one thing about this is that they really should have had him lifting his head up a little bit more, because there's a whole meme now of sad Batman on the internet.
Loco Steve, it's like, oh, Honky's keeping you down.
Dawn of Justice. So obviously this is
Dawn of the Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, come on, man. I'm going to be calling that shit Dong of Justice inadvertently for, like, how long is it till it comes out?
What? I don't know. Is it next summer? I think
it's next summer. Year?
Yeah, it's next summer.
It's got to be next year.
Yeah, 2015.
Now I'm just trying to think of other stuff with the word Dawn in it so that we can put the word Dong in it. Forward unto Dong. Yeah,
Forward unto Dong.
Breaking Dong. Twilight episode 2, Breaking Dong, or whatever it is. All right. Well, I don't know, man. Like, here's the thing, Jason, is that I feel like at any moment I could become. I'm getting to the verge of getting Batman to the fuck out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Batman going on out there. It was back in when the Tim Burton Batman first came out, and Batman had been off the scene for a while, and you're like, holy shit.
It was amazing.
And then that went, and then not Bruckheimer, who's the
Silver. No,
Schumacher totally fucked it. That was great.
He did.
He ran it into the ground and killed it.
Yep.
So that nobody was shaving Batman into their head. And then Nolan brought it back. Or no, I guess animated series brought it back. To a degree.
When was animated series?
Was that before?
I want to say it was like in the middle of the two Schumacher films.
Okay.
Like somewhere around in there.
Did you see that video that somebody made where they redid the opening of Batman the Animated Series live action?
No.
Yeah.
I got to see that.
It
sounds rad.
It is okay. I mean, the thing is that you're able to so control every, like, he has a cape. That's one of the biggest problems is that, and I'm sorry, you guys, capes look fucking stupid in real life. They look awesome in animation. They look awesome in comics.
Have you ever tried jumping off of something with a cape?
No.
Every time I did it, it would, like, in a play that I was in high school, I was always like, Batman, jump off the stage.
Right.
The cape would fly up and over your head.
Sure.
And you would land with it like completely draped over your head,
yep.
which is not menacing by any stretch of the imagination.
I mean, like when you have a cape that's the length of Batman's cape and you're like running, like, you know, in the comics it's flowing behind. In the movies they can do CG and they can make it look cool. If you're doing that for real, you know how fast you have to run to make a cape flow behind you?
Yeah.
Shit's heavy, man. Like you have to run like a cheetah to get that to go out.
He's got a little belt fan on the back.
He just turns on the bat fan.
It's for the effect.
But then, you know, I'm like, I don't know. I may be done with Batman. And then, boom, shakalaka.
The first bit of news.
Arkham Knight trailer comes out and damn.
I would like to take this game out to prom. Take it to get a nice steak dinner. Maybe meet my parents.
Sure.
Or make sweet love to it.
Yeah.
Have babies.
Sure.
I'll have the babies.
You're going to grow old with Arkham Knight?
Yes.
Retire to the retirement community.
Yeah.
Hold its hand in the last days.
Walking around in a park, holding hands with Batman Arkham Knight.
I just got this image of you and old Batman walking around, like a whole montage with some like 60s summer song of you and Batman frolicking around.
Yes.
So yeah, I gotta say, this trailer was awesome. It looks like everything that we're seeing from what I've heard, all the stuff that we saw, that's all in-game footage.
Wow.
All looks absolutely beautiful. Last time I heard anybody who had actually seen the game, they said the frame rate was dog shit, but that every panel of it essentially looked like cinematics of the last generation, right?
Well, hopefully they'll be able to fix that frame rate, right? By the time the fall rolls around.
I don't think that Rocksteady would release a game, because we're talking like it was running at like 8 frames a second. And I don't think that they would spend all this time making an awesome game and then they just put it out. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, it's actually garbage, you guys.
It's like playing a video game with a Viewmaster.
Yeah. I did like, there's that whole monologue in the trailer that seemed to be very Scarecrow-oriented.
Yeah, it looked like, I think it was Scarecrow, but I'm not sure.
Was Scarecrow?
Well, then there's that other, a lot of it was the other bad guy that they introduced. I can't remember his name, but he's essentially Prometheus. I don't know why they didn't use Prometheus.
Oh, the Arkham Knight?
Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
The titular Arkham Knight. Yes, that's him.
Mm-hmm. And so do we, okay, you say Prometheus, but when I look at him, I get a Red Hood vibe of that arc.
Yeah.
But do we want to, but I think that both of those would be too easy because they said they're making a brand new character. Do you think it'll be related to any of the, we've already gone off on weird speculation, but I don't know. All I know is that there were some punching guys, there was some flying around, there was some driving on the streets. We saw Commissioner Gordon, Two-Face Penguin, Scarecrow, the Arkham Knight. I can't wait. The question will be what happens after this. I'm pretty sure this is going to be fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to love it.
Move on, and whoever did the last one.
It was Warner Montreal or something like that.
Yeah, Warner Montreal.
Something like that.
Yeah, and then they're going to start running with the series.
Do you think that it's going to be like Schumacher taken over, or like Zack Snyder taken over? That's going to be
I think they'll be serviceable games unless they make tremendous missteps. Well, they're not going to be as good as the Rocksteady stuff. That's a really high bar to meet.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing, is that up until now, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and this one have all been like serious releases. And Arkham Origins, I feel like, was a serious release, but I feel like there was a lot of, there's some people on the website who are very much advocates for that game.
Yeah,
that
I liked it.
Everything was patched out. You liked it way more than I did.
A lot of problems, a lot of technical problems.
Right. So I just wonder if that's going to turn this series into a low-selling AAA. Like it's going to go from being tentpole stuff to being coming out every year, every 2 years to then it dips into that kind of medium selling category where they've got to scrap it.
Where they eventually,
they just turn it off,
put it on pause.
Yeah. Right. But still, this
looks awesome.
Now, have we heard yet? Are they going to give us the ability to finally let you have your Robin in there with you?
I don't think so. I think I read somewhere that they weren't going to do
Motherfucking nuts, man.
A co-op with Batman and Robin would be so badass.
Yep. And they've got the formula for driving around and fighting crime and stuff like that. Okay, there's a few things I want to see out of this game. One, I want to see a Gotham that isn't on lockdown. I want to see a real Gotham,
an actual Gotham
that's got people doing stuff instead of just like, well, this is Arkham City where it's just criminals, or this is Arkham Origins where it's super, super cold outside.
Yeah. Oh, it's really cold, so we don't see anyone.
I'm pretty sure that people still go outside when it's super cold outside. Like, even when there's a blizzard warning, there's still dumbasses that are like, I have to get Universal Soldier on DVD tonight.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you got your Van Damme needs that no inclement weather can deter.
Nothing is going to stop it when you have to get your Van Damme on.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what. Next up, we have something absolutely bananas. YouTube wants to buy Twitch.
Right.
So the obvious joke, the one that people have already made, but I don't give a fuck, I'm making this on my show, is, we will now have Twitch streaming. This content has been blocked by the copyright holder, LLC.
Yeah, how's that going to work?
Yeah, like Twitch, like YouTube. Well, okay, but I tell you what. I'll tell people here, unless we're playing a Nintendo game, 95% of the time, we don't have any problems monetizing our videos on YouTube.
Okay.
Now, we don't really get the sort of hits that pay all the bills from that.
Yeah.
But the only times that we've had problems in the past have been a lot of times if you have like an opening cinematic in a game that is the same as a cutscene that has been part of a trailer, or if there's something that goes directly. But when they rolled out that new thing where we're doing all that content ID hits and stuff, that was hitting us a little bit for a while. But then it stopped. It's like they figured it out.
They realized that it was too aggressive.
Yeah. So unless you're playing a Nintendo game, which if you're just playing a Nintendo game, Nintendo takes it and they don't give a shit. For the most part, you're still able to monetize your stuff on YouTube. But Twitch is like the wild goddamn West.
Yeah.
And the thing that worries me more than anything about this acquisition is the fact that, I'll be the first to say it, YouTube's customer service, can I need like giant foam quote fingers to say customer service, is garbage. It's garbage.
They probably just sent out a company-wide email and like a janitor ends up like, well, I guess I'll check the YouTube complaints.
Like if you ever go and you get a content ID strike on YouTube, like what happens is that you can do two things. You can acknowledge it and then you basically give all your profits to whoever that is, or you can dispute it. If you dispute it, you can write them a letter and you basically say like, no, this is fair use. We're using this. We're adding our own things. We've got commentary and blah, 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 blah. You send it back. So when YouTube gets that back, if it comes back at you a second time, they say, well, no, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And you have one more chance to essentially plead your case, except that they've got like, it's not exactly Twitter, but it's like a 400 character limit in the box for you to tell them why you should be reassessed. And it's like, it's because this is a larger problem than just your dumb automated system. And there have been times where I've had videos disappear, not processed, not work, not anything. And I've looked for like, can I email somebody? Like YouTube has almost nothing. And Twitch changed with the times, like when they did the Twitch Pokemon thing, they were adding in support for that. They're vocal with the people that are on their service. And that's the thing that worries me more than anything about this, is that YouTube acquires Twitch, and then Twitch becomes just as opaque as YouTube, in that if you have a problem, well, kind of go fuck yourself. We don't really care.
Precisely.
So,
yeah. And, damn you for being frustrated at the lack of support for the completely free service.
Well, I would be willing to pay. I've actually looked at like Vidler and Amazon and places that other companies use, and like, what would it take for Rage Select to host our own 30-minute video?
A lot.
And it's like $2,000 per video. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy pants. Are you joking with me? Bandwidth isn't that expensive. Anyway, I don't know. What do you think? Is this going to be the end of Twitch? You want to make a broad sweeping?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. I mean, it's too closely integrated into like the PS4, for instance.
Yeah.
They might even just buy it and leave it alone.
Yeah.
Or have some sort of, integration, but I doubt they're going to crush it and completely change it.
I think
this is probably a good thing.
I mean, I wonder if it's going to make it, because, YouTube has their own live streaming service, right?
Yeah.
But they will shut you down the moment that you start any kind of copyrighted material on there.
Yeah.
Twitch, on the other hand, you go to their front page, you go to twitch.tv, and it just auto starts playing whatever the hottest stream is.
Right.
Which half the time, one time it was Child of Light, one time it was Dota, one time it was, like it's whatever is out there and is going right now. Like Twitch just don't give a fuck. And that's what I like about them. So I don't know, man. I really hope this doesn't mess it up. I really want to keep believing in Google, but they keep doing stuff.
Dude, don't believe in Google. I mean, Google's amazing.
Yeah.
And they're doing some brilliant things with Google Fiber and everything. But that all comes at a price.
Yeah, I know. Well, speaking of prices... That's a bad one. Zenimax is going ahead and taking Oculus and Palmer Luckey to court over this stuff. So
for the whole Carmack stuff?
Yeah, for the Carmack intellectual property stuff. I guess they must think they've got a case if they're going ahead. Like I could have seen the original thing as and for those of you who don't know, Carmack worked at Zenimax. They gave him an Oculus dev kit and some time to do stuff with them. He wrote them some code. They abandoned it. He left. And then basically Zenimax is now saying, like, the shit that's in his head that he figured out while he was in our employ belongs to us.
Well, if it's on company computers or whatever,
but I was actually listening to
if it's in his head, it's like you don't own his brain.
Well, here's the thing, and this is the most interesting thing about it, is I didn't even think about this the first time that we did it. Oculus has an open SDK for programming, right?
Yeah.
So if Carmack stole code and brought it there, the SDK for Oculus is open. People should be able to look at it. You should be able to point right there and say
there's
this shit's in our database with this timestamp, and here it is in your SDK. And if it isn't, then you're basically arguing, well, we own part of John Carmack's smart. You can't have all his smart. You need to license his smart from us. Like... Last time we did this, I was a little bit understanding with Zenimax's position, but the more I've thought about it, the more it's kind of been like, Zenimax, you guys own... I started thinking about, what if this is just like Zenimax is like, we fucking bought id Software, and then Carmack left
Carmack.
Right.
It's like, why do we want id if we don't have Carmack?
Who gives a fuck about id Software without John Carmack?
Like, oh, yay, Rage 2.
Right. I mean, was Wolfenstein... That wasn't even an id. That's id Tech. It's id license, but I don't think they actually made Wolfenstein.
No. They haven't... No, they did
I guess,
not.
And Wolfenstein says you get the Doom 4 beta with it, so they're obviously making, you get Doom 4 out there. But maybe this is just, I could just imagine somebody over at ZeniMax just pissed off, like corporate tier guy who's just like, he did what? He left? Get my fucking lawyer. He's like, Jim, you will find something to sue this guy for. I don't give a fuck what it is.
Someone took a robot.
It's like, I own John Carmack. He's mine. Anyway, I have a feeling this is probably going to be one of those things that goes on for years, and then it's going to end up.
Yeah, he should have had something in his contract to non-compete where it's like, if you leave here, you can't work anywhere else in code for 5 years or whatever.
I'd be willing to bet that there's probably about a dozen people in this industry. One of them is probably John Carmack, who you could be like, well, we want to purchase his software, but you have to sign this contract with Zenimax that says
no,
you can't do any outside projects. And he would just be like, well, then you can take it. I'll go work for NASA. I'm smart, bitch.
The Martians are trying to recruit me.
Right.
You should see my LinkedIn.
So we'll see how that ends up going. I have a feeling it's probably not going to end super well for Zenimax.
Yeah.
This seems pretty frivolous at this point.
Carmack will call in the rest of the Borg, and that'll be it.
Yeah. I mean, there's an article over on Gamasutra where they actually have like the full-on legal brief that you can look over from Zenimax. I haven't looked at it
I
because
ain't got time for that
I don't like reading legalese, but I don't know. I'd like to know what you guys think about this. I think we asked that before and nobody really chimed in. Well, next up, speaking of things that are going to go badly, boom! Interceptor put out the trailer for Bombshell.
It's stinky.
Perhaps one of the worst trailers.
It's a bad trailer.
I said before that you could cut anything together into a good trailer. Not this. So for those of you who haven't seen this trailer, this is... okay, well, let's back up. So we had that story a while back that Interceptor was making a Duke Nukem game.
Yeah.
and then 3D Realms.
Yeah.
And then Gearbox jumped in and was like,
"No, you're not." Wait, is it Gearbox?
Yeah,
it is Gearbox.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why you hate Randy Pitchford so much. Remember? It's not because of Borderlands 2. It's because of Aliens: Colonial Marines.
Yes.
And Duke Nukem Forever.
Yep.
Is that Gearbox was like, I'm sorry, you're doing what?
Yeah.
It'd be like if Marvel's like, hey, you know what? In Guardians of the Galaxy, we also put in Spider-Man or Batman. Yeah, Spider-Man, because they could put Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We put in Batman, and DC would be like, wait a minute. I'm sorry, what did you do?
Actually, Guardians of the Galaxy couldn't put in Spider-Man.
Oh, right. Well, because Sony. But yeah, so it looks like they did a quick skin change on this, and they changed Duke Nukem into a lady.
Yeah.
In fact, if you look at the screenshots, I don't know if there's any in the story that we're looking at.
Some shaved-headed cyber slut.
You can actually see that a lot of the enemies, like this is a top-down shooter, but they look kind of similar to Duke Nukem-style enemies.
Of course they do.
And this trailer basically it's you turning around this woman with a cyborg arm drinking whiskey, and then she gets on a motorcycle and gets a shotgun. It's like,
what was it they were calling her? Dyke Nukem?
Dyke Nukem, yeah.
It's pretty appropriate.
That's there was a lot of like, this is actually makes for a pretty decent tangent. I looked to the YouTube page for this, right? And this trailer actually has more dislikes than likes on YouTube, and there are people in the comments on YouTube that are just like, I don't know why you guys are judging this. Give it a chance. Let's wait till we see more. And it's like,
you know what other trailer came out today?
What's that?
Batman Arkham Knight.
Right.
So like, here's a good trailer.
Right.
Here's a bad trailer.
Well, it's to say that like, you can like, I feel like it's important sometimes to make the distinction of like, yes, you are correct. We have not played Bombshell yet, and it could be okay.
Yeah.
The impression that this trailer gives is that it's going to be
just a complete shit pile.
Right. Flaming garbage on the street.
Yeah. Because your trailer, ideally, is supposed to be better than your game, you know?
It should be, especially this where the game is a top-down, like, Diablo style shooter, right, or something like that. It's a top-down shooter, and this trailer is it's a sizzle reel, right? It's a full 3D
with no
background, no nothing, just smoke and lighting effects. I can make smoke and lighting effects. Do you want to redo this trailer? Can you dress up like that? You shave your head and
no, I'm not going to do that.
Put foil on one arm.
I'm not going to do.
You got to wear the bikini.
Not interacting whatever weird fantasies you have.
I don't have these fantasies. It's more our fans than anything else.
Oh, okay. Well, if you guys want to see it, let me know.
Of course they want to see it.
Do you want to see it?
Why would you say that?
Yeah, but you got to send me jerk off pics so I can put them in Jeff's mailbox.
Okay.
I don't even know where to go with that.
I don't even know where to go with that. I don't. Yeah. So this looks like an abysmal pile of crap, and I can't wait for us to get it to play it on the show so that we can show everybody what an abysmal pile of crap it is. It's probably going to come out the same day as like the new Assassin's Creed or something. They're just going to be like, I don't know, fuck it. Just put it live. I don't give a shit.
Just release it. Maybe nobody will notice.
Yeah. Like, all right. Well, speaking of things that people will notice when they're released, Far Cry 4 is confirmed for November 18th. And I don't know if you've seen this, Jason.
I have.
This picture of, it looks like, Julian Assange with a rocket launcher or whatever?
Some Ponzi dude ruling a Himalayan rogue state.
Yeah. Have you seen the other picture?
I don't know that I have.
The one that's exactly like that, but it's like way, way creepier.
No. Oh, yeah, because there's the guy at his feet?
Yep. He's got his hand on a dude's head, and that guy does not look like he's happy to be there.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me go like, Let's see if I can find it here real
And they
fast.
said you get to ride elephants.
Yeah. Well, we knew that. We knew that you could ride elephants. Whether you could put machine guns on top of those elephants. Am I not getting the right thing here? I feel like I'm getting a whole bunch of things that are not Far Cry 4.
Yeah, I don't know what you're getting, but it's not Far Cry 4.
Is it gonna be better than Far Cry 3? What do you think? Because Far Cry 3
was pretty awesome.
Absolutely bananas.
There was definitely room
version
for improvement.
Oh, okay. This is a Photoshop competition, but we can at least see. Yeah, kind of creepy. I mean, like, do we think that this Julian Assange guy is going to be the new Voss? They're gonna stick with the idea.
Yeah, he looks like an over the top, really theatric villain.
Yeah.
So I think it looks cool.
Yeah. I just hope that it's more. I just hope that we get that it's not just Far Cry 3 all over again.
Well, yeah, take Far Cry 3 and improve it.
Yeah.
Because there was definitely stuff to improve.
I mean, I don't know about it. I mean, like mountains with jungle and stuff on it, that kind of reminds me of Far Cry 1.
Well,
right?
you're going to have a lot of snow here, too.
Okay. All right.
And that's something we haven't seen. It's generally been pretty hot and tropical.
I don't know. Far Cry is a weird franchise where I usually have fun while I'm playing it, but they don't stick with me. I mean, like there's that one part in Far Cry 3 where you burn down the weed fields. That was pretty cool when they played the Skrillex.
And, there were a lot of good stuff in there. There were a lot of good moments in there, but yeah, I think a lot of it is that you don't have very well drawn characters as far as your primary protagonist.
What was his name? Grant?
I think it was Grant.
Yeah. Who turns into a psycho murder killer?
Yeah,
and then
he was really forgetable.
Weird voodoo
The supporting
sex.
characters were way more interesting.
Well, up until a point. And then they became more stock, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'm excited that this is coming out. I'd like to see. I can't wait to see some more about it, and I really hope that they push it further in the direction of Far Cry 3.
Yeah,
and make something really good. No, what you know what? No, fuck that. That's not what I hope. I hope that they get this shit out as soon as possible so they can work on Blood Dragon 2. So somebody can make Blood Dragon 2.
Amen.
I don't give a shit. So this is actually part of this block of news. We got a big block of news here that's all about release dates and stuff. The next one being that The Division has been pushed back until 2015.
Yeah, I sat through the demonstration of The Division at E3 last year, and it was pretty fantastic.
Oh, yeah, you got in on the third day, right?
Yeah, it looked great.
Okay.
That's a bummer. I'm not terribly surprised, but yeah, that's kind of a drag.
I mean, I figure it's possible that they may have thought that because I mean, you got to think that they're probably releasing that Assassin's Creed game this year as well, right?
Which one?
The next one, the one's in France. It's in Revolutionary France.
Right. Well, is that going to be like Assassin's Creed 4, 2, or whatever?
Maybe, but I guess it just let's see. Assassin's Creed.
I don't know what that's. If that's going to be like Brotherhood or I'm curious.
Assassin's Creed Unity.
Unity. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a lot of information about it. Here we go. Release date.
It's probably going to be
2014.
2014.
Yeah. So maybe maybe between Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed and when the fuck is Drive Club
Batman
coming out? Well, is Batman Ubisoft?
Oh, you're just talking Ubisoft specifically.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe they pushed it out to. Maybe they pushed it out. Maybe the fact that Watch Dogs got delayed until mid-2014 has now pushed all their plans further out. Because if Watch Dogs had come out at the end of the year,
they don't want to eat into Watch Dogs' profits,
right? So maybe that's what it is, or I don't know what the actual. Yeah. Let's see if there was anything.
It was too crowded for releases, so they did. Yeah, they probably didn't want to take money out of their own pockets.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
Yeah.
But The Division looks great. It's
and that's one where it's all about resources like oil or post-apocalyptic oil future
or something like that. Yeah, and there's a big online co-op thing where it's like you're struggling to control different sections of New York.
Right.
But
I wonder, is it a single? Is there actual single player game in there?
I don't remember.
Okay, because if it's just a third-person action MMO with sector control or whatever,
I think that's the one where I went up and asked the guys, and they're like, we're not answering any questions right now. You can direct that to our marketing people outside. And I learned very quickly that the marketing people know fuck all about the games.
Right. Marketing people are super good at telling you to fuck off in the nicest way humanly possible.
Yeah.
About not giving you shit for information.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the parts about E3 that eventually when you go to E3, you start to understand that, like, you probably shouldn't ask them anything really substantial about
right.
this. Like, if they're like, it's multiplayer, you'd be like, how many players on which platforms?
Yeah.
You know,
well, we're not answering any questions right now.
Right.
I got that so many times.
I want to take a camera to E3, and I want another one of these. This is the last time we get to go to E3, guys. We just walk up to every developer and go like, so, what are your short-term plans on the release of this game to fuck people with pre-order DLC? How hard are you going to be fucking us this time?
Yeah.
Is it going to be $20 or $50?
Well, you know my feelings on E3. I think it's kind of worthless.
It's fun. It's like going to Disneyland, man. I'm gonna take somebody else. I'm gonna take Aaron to E3 with me. I bet he would be.
Dude, Aaron would go through the roof. I'd be like, yeah, whatever, fine, go.
God damn it, Jason.
It's just like, oh, all this stuff's gonna be up on the internet. Great.
All right. Well, speaking of release dates and things being delayed until 2015, you see how good I'm getting at these segues? I'm getting pretty good at them.
You're okay.
Halo 5 is now Halo 5 Guardians, and it's coming in 2015 as well.
Yeah.
Fall of 2015. 343 is making Halo 5 Guardians. I wonder. Once again, I know that it takes time to make this shit and whatever, but like with the way the Xbox One sales have been flagging, if it wouldn't have been a good idea to push this up sooner and be like, we're gonna hire 3 more studios to get in with 343 and finish this fucking thing by the end of the year, so that at Christmas of this year...
Oh, it's 2015.
2015.
So there's nothing in 2014 Halo coming out.
We'll probably see that Steven Spielberg TV show on Showtime or whatever, right?
I don't think we will.
I'm not sure if there's another Halo. Let's see. I'll do a search on the Wikipedia and see if I can't find anything.
Almost positive that there's no Halo stuff coming out in 2014.
I mean, maybe they decided to push it out of 2014 so that they didn't have to fuck with Destiny.
Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe they were just like, give Destiny its time. Halo franchise. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom.
Nope.
Doesn't look like it. Looks like Spartan.
It's a big gap there.
Yeah.
Unless there's a big surprise at E3 coming up.
Yeah. Like, what was I thinking? Who's the guys that make Gears of War? Come on.
Cliffy B.
The company.
I don't remember the companies. I'm totally blanking.
Come on, brain.
Yeah, I know. I'm totally blanking on
it. They make an Unreal Engine. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, Cliffy B.
Cliffy B.
He does it all by himself.
Cliffy B Studios. If they come out and Epic. That's
Epic.
Epic comes out and they're like, yes, well, we are... Well, this Halo 5 isn't coming out until next year, but we've been working on this crossover between the Gears of War and Halo universe that will be coming out at Christmas time. The name of the game is called Fuck Your Destiny.
Yeah. And millions of heads explode all at once.
And Snoop Dogg is a playable character in the game.
Yes.
Fuck your Destiny duty. That's what we call it. Yeah, I don't know. I think that if I was the Xbox One, I mean, what's coming out? What's on the horizon for the Xbox One that's a big exclusive?
An exclusive?
I don't even... I don't know. I don't know at this point. I don't know. We didn't get a chance, actually, last week to talk about the fact that... Let's hear your thoughts briefly on they taking the Kinect out of the box finally, right?
Yeah.
Dropped to $400.
I'm just like... just slowly backsliding on everything that they forced down our throats this time last year.
Yeah.
And it's I think that's there you go, guys. What I tell you motherfuckers.
Cobalt, Dead Rising 3. Oh, there's the one from Remedy. They talked about what's it called? It was The Time Has Stopped, and the little girl with the ship.
What was that?
Remedy. It was God, my brain.
I don't remember what it's called.
Oh, look. Okay, Fighter Within. That was an exclusive to the Xbox One. Untitled Gears of War game. Halo. Killer Instinct. Lococycle. No.
Yeah, not much.
Peggle 2.
Peggle 2!
Power Star Golf. Quantum Break. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, that was Remedy.
That's what it was called.
So Quantum Break. I'm trying to find anything else here that is Sunset Overdrive.
Oh, right. Yeah, they just released a trailer for
Did you watch a trailer for Sunset Overdrive?
No, not yet.
And yeah, most of the rest of the stuff on this list is kind of dick, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think they really need to announce stuff. There's a few people that I was talking to online that were saying that like they think that. Oh, I was talking with John from Savage Jets, and he was like, "I think E3 is going to be really boring this year. I think it's just going to be sequels and maybe a few announcements of things that we already know about, like Sunset Overdrive, but that there's not going to be any big surprises or new reveals. I mean, I guess we already have a Batman game. We already have a Halo game. A new Uncharted game, maybe. New Gears, maybe.
Uncharted would make sense.
Anyway, well, here's a story that I think needs talking about. So apparently, in the first 6 months of 2014, Steam has seen more releases on their service than all of 2013 put together.
Well, what does that mean exactly?
What that means is
that means they're just like opening the floodgates to shit, or that more people are submitting, or
yes,
they lowered their quality standards.
Well, here's the thing: there has been a huge slew of like old games, like old ass PC games that have been essentially just made to work on Windows 7 and 8 and plugged into Steam. Like we had all the Putt, the who's that company that did all the learning games? They put all those out.
Mavis Beacon.
Not Mavis Beacon, but they had a whole
Leapfrog.
Maybe. We had a whole story on the website. People remember them fondly who played educational games on the PC.
Carmen Sandiego.
It was not Carmen Sandiego. There's been a lot more shit pushed through Steam Greenlight. And I think that one of the worst parts of it is that now when I open up Steam, it used to be you'd open up Steam, you'd roll down, and the first tab that would be activated by default would be new releases.
Yeah.
So you could roll through new releases.
And you, Jeff, could just click yes.
No, there's too much. There's too much.
Now there is.
There's way too much. And there's too much that looks like garbage, like ports of Android and iOS games, older games that are coming out, smaller stuff from Steam Greenlight. We still have the clogging up of early access stuff, pre-order stuff. But see, the problem is that now when you roll down in Steam, it doesn't even go to coming soon. It goes to top sellers. So look at that. Like, I keep going down there the last couple days where I'll open up Steam and I'll go down there and be like, wait, is Watch Dogs out? Oh, no, this is top sellers. I got to click over here. And it sucks because every time you click to a game, right, to check out a game and see if it's going to be any good or not, and then you try to go back to the front page of Steam, it reloads the default page with page 1 of the new releases. And, I was down to page 25 trying to find something good. I think that what we've talked about before, I really, really think that Steam desperately needs to redo their layout for the front of Steam. That they need to cut down on the amount of things that are coming or that are there, or make the list longer, because it's only like 10 things, and then you have to scroll to the next 10, then you scroll to the next 10, right? If it was like, if I could filter it so it was the last 85 releases, and I could open a bunch of those in tabs or whatever and look at it like in a browser, that would maybe be a little bit better.
Well, they're busy not making Half-Life 3.
Well, yeah.
So they've got time.
That's what you're upset about.
That's what I'm upset about.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it not? You're still...
I want to see it.
You haven't...
I want to play it. I have unresolved issues.
You haven't...
About City 17.
Okay.
In the Combine.
I never finished Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
Say.
You're missing out.
Yeah. Did you play the episodes 1 and 2?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were fantastic.
Okay. What do you think? Give me a percentage chance Half-Life 3 revealed at E3 this year.
2%.
2%.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take it.
Most of that is dreams.
1 out of 50. All right. Well, speaking of all of your dreams, the guy that made Night Trap is going to be trying to put together a new version of Night Trap and putting it out. What's this guy's name again? James Riley is seeking a re-release of the infamous Sega CD launch title Night Trap for modern platforms. His quote here, "I do plan to re-release Night Trap and have been talking with a number of interested parties to do so. However, the specific platforms have not been confirmed, including online, and I will let you know once we have a definitive plan and release schedule. Night Trap will come back better resolution and gameplay than before. We just want to be sure it's the best strategy for all involved." So, guess what? Someday, we're going to get to play Night Trap on Rage Select.
Yes.
I have to ask you, though, Jason, how do you feel about, like, if he has the original Night Trap tapes about having, like, a 1080p video version of Night Trap? Do you think that it needs to be, like, shit garbage video?
I want both options.
You want to be able to click back and forth?
Yeah.
Hit the select button to go to classic mode?
Yeah.
I never played Night Trap. Did you?
No, I never did. I always wanted to.
Shit looked like the future, right? When you were a kid,
it looked like a stinky, malformed future.
Now I hope this comes out. I hope it sells well. I hope it opens the gates to
Night Trap 2.
Sewer Shark.
Sewer Shark.
And
I played Sewer Shark. It sucked.
What was the other one?
Star Wars. It was Rogue something.
No.
Yeah.
You think of the 32X Star Wars.
No. There was a Star Wars one that came out around the same time as Sewer Shark and
a full motion video?
Yeah.
I think of Rebel Assault.
Was it Rebel Assault?
Rebel Assault.
Okay.
Yeah. No, not that. I played that on the PC. That sucked too.
Okay.
What was the one I'm thinking of?
Phantasmagoria.
Make your own music video, Marky Mark. I don't remember which one it was. I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, I thought this was worth talking about because I've never played it before, and I'm actually kind of excited about them releasing this. It'd be like them putting out some horrible B movie that hasn't been around or that hasn't been out for 10 years, like on Blu-ray or something.
Sleepaway Camp Massacre 3 or something.
Yeah. And then I'm excited about this, but what I'm very, very tentatively kind of scared of.
Yeah.
Somebody is trying to re-release Trespasser.
Jurassic Park Trespasser, which when it first came out, when it was first announced, everyone thought that this was going to be just the evolutionary step.
Yep.
In video games, and it was terrible.
It was really, really bad. They hired. Do you remember who they hired to voice act?
No.
Minnie Driver.
Oh, yeah.
Before celebrity voice acting was even a big thing. But yeah, this was a game where you had control of one hand and you couldn't do shit with it.
It was like imagine playing a first-person puzzle-solving game, but it's Surgery Simulator.
Exactly. Try to use the controls from Surgery Simulator to aim a gun at a velociraptor that is trying to eviscerate you. But a lot of this guy is saying those key words, right? He's like, okay, we want to use CryEngine in the jungle.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds good. And down at the bottom, Oculus Rift and Razer Hydra support. That means, like, instead of having to dick with a mouse, you could look down, actually reach your hand down, and manipulate stuff with it.
I don't know. I think this will be a curiosity, but not anything worthwhile.
I'm not letting my hopes get up. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But we'll see. We'll see. Because Jurassic Park Trespasser still remains one of the greatest gaming letdowns for me of all time.
Yeah.
That was why when Aliens Colonial Marines busted, I was just like, you guys still expect games to be good? Like, come on, man. All right. That's all the news that we've got for right now. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to answer your questions. So stay tuned, everybody. And we're back, and before we get to questions, actually, there are two quick things that we need to mention.
Okay.
Last week we were talking about the Boondocks I was talking about the Boondocks with Nick.
Yeah.
I said Aaron Magruder left before season 3. That is incorrect. He actually wrote pretty much every single episode of season 3.
Oh, okay.
Still feel like season 3 was not quite as good as season 1 and 2, but I figured, hey, man, I'm wrong about shit. I'm big enough to say that when I've done something wrong. Also, last time you were on, we were talking about Marvel characters and race and people whose race cannot be changed.
Yeah.
The one that we conspicuously left out was Black Panther.
Oh, yeah.
Which some people brought up in the comments.
That's a good point. Yeah, you want to stick with a black guy on that one.
So, yeah, a few quick things. And without further ado, let's go on to the questions. And if you guys would like to send in questions, mail@rageselect.com is the email address. And our first one comes in from Jose, and he says, "Hail the messengers of Dogacles, Jeff, who's obligated to be there all the time, and guest, I would say, and Jason. I have an Xbox One question. With the recent news that Microsoft will release a Connectless bundle and remove the Hulu/Netflix paywall, many are overjoyed and applaud the idea. I myself am surprised that they didn't do this earlier, but I'm glad nonetheless. However, I've stumbled upon a loud minority who believes this is hypocrisy on Microsoft's part. Their argument is that Microsoft knew that the Kinect was not well received and that the paywall was intentionally put into place to wring more money from you, and that you should not applaud this move from a company that nickel and dimes you. Your thoughts? And thanks again for mighty fine content."
Now, what is he saying here? That that you can use Hulu and Netflix on the Xbox One now without being a member
gold.
of
Yes,
without gold.
That was one of the things from last week is that they've done what PlayStation does.
I don't know. I always felt like, well, you're paying for this device to be online.
Yeah,
I can see both sides of it. I really don't care either way because I've got so many different ways to watch Hulu and Netflix and so forth.
Yeah,
that it doesn't matter to me. Although I do have to say that the best of those ways is my Xbox 360.
Well, I say that, I feel like a lot of that paywall stuff was a remnant. Because when they first started it, I don't know if you guys remember back when the PlayStation 3 required a disc to run Netflix.
Yeah.
And I actually wore one of those discs out and had to get another one. Like, it used to be, before Netflix got their shit together, and I feel like HBO Go is in the same place now, that you couldn't actually run that stuff on anywhere. And so Microsoft was basically charging this as a premium service package. Now, I feel like they let that shit run way past its course.
Yeah.
Like, that should have been gone maybe a year or two ago. But I think that the idea of I think that if you take the longer look at this, what he's asking is like, Microsoft has made some mistakes. They have corrected those mistakes, and people are saying, good job, Microsoft, you've corrected your mistakes. And some people are saying, don't tell those motherfuckers good job. They should have known this from the beginning.
Yeah, they're listening to people and responding. So, yeah, good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just one of those cases where you got to say, even for a company like Microsoft, they're not infallible. And in some cases, it's actually been really refreshing to see Microsoft have the flexibility to change as they see what the market wants. Because now with the Kinect, like, we've gone from, like, you look at what was originally announced at the Xbox One is now completely different than what we've got now. I mean, there was, you can't turn it on without the Kinect plugged in before. Mm-hmm. You remember, all games are no used games, blah, 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 all the stuff that they had, and they've walked all of those things back in response to the way that the market has gone. And I think that this is just a good thing of saying that, like, a lot of times we can look at these monolithic companies and believe that they are like, they should know that they're these all-knowing entities who do stuff. But anybody who's ever worked for a big company, you worked for Dell, I've worked for Dell, Apple, and Microsoft, and I've seen this internally at all those companies. Stuff that looks perfectly reasonable to you from the outside of that company does not always look that way from inside of the company. A lot of times companies, I mean, when you look at what responding to feedback, right? Like, we deal with this all the time. I'm sure you've dealt with it online. Mm-hmm. It's not always easy to just say, we're going to do everything that everybody says that we should do. All the feedback that we get, we're going to follow it, because in that way lies madness, right?
Yeah.
So you got to pick and choose, and a lot of times, if you're in a company or you're in a leadership role, you've got to say, like with the Xbox One, I'm sure there's plenty of people who had plenty of conversations where they were like, should we bundle this in? It's probably going to make us more expensive than Sony. And there were probably people there that had that were very persuasive about saying, like, look, this is a thing that's going to change the way people deal with their TV.
Well, they were really trying to make a next-gen system.
Right.
Like a truly next-gen system.
Right. And they would probably say things like, they don't even know what this is going to be like, and if we pack it in with everything, then it's going to really change the face of this stuff.
It's like, I don't care how good your change is, don't make me do it.
Right. But in some
make
cases,
me want to do it.
But you know what? And that's an interesting thing, and I feel like a lot of times people have that attitude. But I have to remind you that, like, go back and look at Apple, and you go back and look at the iMac and a few of the things that Apple did. Like, they were one of the first companies to take CD drives out of their computers.
Oh yeah,
they were one of the first companies to take like serial and PS2 ports. I remember they went to like USB and FireWire back before that was when it was still expensive, right?
Yeah.
Somebody a lot of times has to end up pushing this shit forward
innovation by
taking a chance.
Yeah.
Like if Nintendo had stuck with, if they had made the GameCube 2 instead of the Wii, that's a safer bet, but it probably wouldn't have worked out as well for them.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to be the company that does the thing
that takes risks.
That takes a risk. But I think that it's cool that Microsoft is big enough to see when they've done that and it's bit them in the ass to be like, all right, well, people weren't ready for this yet. Let's get back to what people have told us that they want. So I don't necessarily think that having worked for Microsoft, I don't think that this whole idea of Microsoft knew the Kinect was not going to be well received.
No.
And that it was put into silly. Like nickel and dime people. I honestly don't think companies are really that smart to be honest. I think they probably had a big head coming out of the last generation.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that it was a mustache twirling, steepling your fingers, mwahaha, pet the cat in your lap type of decision.
Yeah. And big companies, like that, they can definitely be diabolical, but a lot of times it's really hard to get stuff accomplished.
Yeah. Plus, it's worth noting, I've had this conversation a few times over the last week. There are very few people in this world who wake up at the beginning of the day and twirl their big black mustache and put on their big black top hat.
Nobody thinks they're a bad guy.
Right, I'm going to tie somebody to the train tracks today. Like, these people, when they put the Kinect in there, they probably thought that they were driving the market in a direction that it needed to go and that they were being pioneers and innovators. Like, I always try to tell people, I worked at Microsoft, I worked at Dell, I worked at Apple. Every one of those companies had the exact same internal rah.
Yeah.
Like, Microsoft would be there being like, we have been innovating and we have been pushing the boundaries of what people can do with their computers for years, and we are the greatest company on the planet that is innovating.
Yeah.
Exact same speech you hear over at Apple.
Yeah.
Because when you're inside of a company like that, it's like you don't get up on stage and go,
yeah,
well, I don't know.
This is a shit show.
We've been fucking people and stifling innovation for years, and by God, it's made us a shitload of money. So I tell you what, let's all twirl our mustaches and keep on with that.
Yes.
Say it with me now. This is a huge, like, those all hands meetings where everybody's just in. So, yeah. All right, our next one comes in from Steven. Steven says, hi, Jeff and Jason. What do you think of the Black Keys, Jeff? And why does Jason hate the Black Keys? All hail the Hypnodongacles. This is sincerely Steven. I didn't know Hypnodongacles was a thing.
I'm unfamiliar. Maybe it's a Black Keys thing. I don't know.
Dong swings back and forth and like watch
Stare deeply into the testicles.
Listen to the sound of my voice. You were getting more and more uncomfortable.
I'm going to try that.
What, dong hypnosis?
Yep.
You have to film it. You have to film it.
I'm gonna.
I have this mental image of a video of
you
Grant,
might have to age gate it.
Of Grant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like looking forward, and his eyes are going back and forth, and all you see is a shadow of this like sausage shaped shadow swinging back and forth over his face. I don't listen to the Black Keys. I don't know anything about the Black Keys. I couldn't say anything about the Black Keys.
See, in my car, I only have terrestrial radio.
Okay.
AM, FM band.
Did you unthaw your car from a block of ice?
Well,
I've given you checks from Rage Select before. Go buy a $100 Bluetooth player.
Well, yeah, but see that they never work as good as they should. Like transmitting to an FM dial or something.
No, dude. I'm talking like now you can go over there and for like $90 you can get a radio that syncs to your phone that just streams Bluetooth from your phone out your car radio.
I got to do that.
Yeah,
I was doing the ones that like it syncs to your car radio,
right?
But it's it transmits a small FM frequency from your phone.
Wire your phone into Mr. Microphone. And you do it like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe I have to do that. But I listen to radio, and modern rock radio has ruined the Black Keys for me.
Okay,
that's all you ever hear. They've ruined many things.
What do they sound? What do they sound like? Give me.
They're very they're kind of White Stripes.
Okay.
Not
minimalist rock and roll.
Yeah, but much they're denser, very bluesy, and weird. Yeah, they're good. They're very talented.
Okay.
I'm just fucking sick of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, and mainly that's the because of one radio station in town that always plays them, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the most popular 5 songs over and over and over and over.
Who else have they ruined for you? I'm sure the Black Keys aren't
Foo
the only
Fighters.
One. Foo Fighters?
Foo Fighters.
Really?
Yeah.
Any particular song? Everlong?
Everlong.
Yeah.
Definitely a big one.
Okay.
Yeah. That's Monkey Wrench. It's another one.
Yeah.
And Nirvana Unplugged.
Okay.
I was riding along with Allison, and she was like, I'm going to put it on this. Maybe we'll hear some Nirvana Unplugged or something. I'm like, oh, well, you want to go to this station because they play it all the goddamn time. And she clicked on it, and it was The Man Who Sold the World. It was them covering Bowie.
Okay, I like that album, but if I want to listen to Nirvana, I generally put on Bleach. And I hate to be that, like, the first album was the best hipster and everything, because I like Incesticide and I like Nevermind, but I still think Bleach is their best album. I like how raw it is. But what do you think about? See, that's the thing is that things keep coming up. Who's the
Lord, yeah.
I've never heard a Lured song or
She's
whatever.
talented. Might not be your thing.
Yeah.
You know? It's
Vampire Weekend. I've never heard Vampire Weekend.
Poppy. It's a bunch of white kids in Cape Cod, basically, playing really bouncy songs. They're okay.
Well, so what's the face of so this is the rock station here in town, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very the modern rock, quote unquote, is very dancey now.
Really?
Yeah, it's
a lot
very,
of production,
like 90s dance. Yeah, overproduced, but just about everything you can dance to it. I like crunching guitars.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Okay,
but yeah, it's just.
Do they still have the classic rock station on the radio?
They do.
And how we've talked about this before, but have you?
They made me hate Pink Floyd.
Really?
And Led Zeppelin.
Well, because last time I was listening to classic rock station, it was when I had that horrible realization that like 80s and 90s rock and roll is now considered classic rock.
It is indeed.
So what I'm wondering is, I've been looking for a 90s radio station in my town for a long time.
They'll play some Alice in Chains and some Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
But
what
that's
about Whale? They have any Whale on there?
They don't have any Whale.
Damn it.
There is a new station that plays a bunch of Pavement. That's pretty cool.
I like Pavement.
Yeah.
I like Pavement. All right. Well, there you go. That's why Jason hates the Black Keys. I have to say, there have been plenty of songs over the years, especially in the 90s. I will never be able to enjoy the song Black Hole Sun ever again.
Oh, I know.
Because it was everywhere. I will never be able to enjoy Sober by Tool.
Right. Yeah.
There was about 16. What was that horrible Oasis song? The Wonderwall. Over and over and over again. And then one day...
Modern radio is the bane of music.
One day they got When Car Song from Elastica, which I bought that album and I loved it. And then that was one of my favorite songs. And then it went on the radio. And it's weird because when I would put it on repeat on the CD in my car, I was fine with it. But when they were playing it every single place that I walked into... started hating it. Just like
it's like having that friend that everybody laughs at this one joke that he told, and now he tells it all the time.
And he just tells that one
like
joke
that episode
over
of SpongeBob.
Yeah,
I split my pants.
Yep.
Like, oh man, not this again.
Yep. All right, our next one comes in from Alex. Alex says, "Hey guys, name's Alex, and I've been watching ever since the inception of your unholy partnership." I'm going to assume he means holy.
Unchristmassy?
Yeah.
Partnership? Okay.
Back on Spill. My question's mostly for Jason, though I would be grateful to hear from the other guys as well. Hey, I'm like more than one person now.
Hey,
I'm all the other
you.
guys.
Yeah.
I want to become a writer, specifically a science fiction one with an eye towards space opera. I'm a big fan of Dune and Ender's Game, to name just two, and I have a broad plot idea with some of the main characters sketched out. What advice would you give me composition-wise? Heavy on detail or emphasize on action? I know it depends on my personal style, but would you prefer your books to explore philosophical and political concepts or just deliver a ton of explosions, laser, and science no one understands? I'm curious to get as many opinions as possible. Keep on with the good work. Alex.
Alex, you got to answer that question yourself, man.
Yeah.
It's all about finding your voice. But to tell you, like stuff like Dune and Ender's Game, and as is en vogue lately with a lot of sci-fi and fantasy novels, there's a lot of world building that goes on there.
Okay.
So lots of heavy details, lots of how the characters all interrelate with each other, and a lot of people really want tomes that they can sink their teeth into. Very Game of Thrones,
sure,
Eye of the World type stuff in the fantasy realm. But yeah, it's. You really have to find your voice and what you're most comfortable with.
I'm trying to think of a good example of a book that really goes into the super hard nitty-gritty of fights, of like action fights. And I think I may just not do that very much in my sci-fi, the people that I read, because for me it seems like, you go back and you look at The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is not a sci-fi book, but like the big battle scenes, it's like he talks and talks and talks, and then he goes, and then there was a giant battle.
Yeah. Well, Eye of the World has more about those battles, I want to say Robert Jordan, the guy that wrote those before he died. When he graduated, he was a military strategist, I think, that graduated from West Point.
Yeah.
And so he was exceptionally familiar with all these like medieval battle tactics and stuff like that. And a friend was telling me, I only read the first two books until I got bored, but a friend was telling me that he really puts a lot of those into the giant battles.
Oh, okay.
All of these like troop movements and stuff like that. So
sounds kind of boring to me. I guess I kind of prefer more, like, if you're going to look for explosions and lasers and shit, I kind of would rather watch that in a movie than I'd rather read it in a book.
Sure.
In a book, the advantage that you have is that you can spend long times inside of people's heads, or setting up worlds, or focusing on detail, right? As opposed to specifically getting into the nitty-gritty of shooting that one guy, and then I shot that other guy, and then I shot that other guy.
Yeah, I mean, you just really have to find your voice, and that you're not mimicking somebody else. And the only way to do that is to write and write a lot.
Yeah.
And eventually your voice will come out. But you got to find what you're good at, what your knowledge base is. It's like I'm writing something that's set in like West Texas right now.
Yeah.
A script. I was like, I really need to know about all of the flora and the fauna and everything. I grew up out there, but I really need to know like the names of all this stuff that I grew up around and the jargon and everything.
Sagebrush.
Right.
Sagebrush.
Yeah.
It's just all sagebrush.
And so I'm reading All the Pretty Horses right now by Cormac McCarthy.
Okay.
And it's just like, I've got to look up every other word. It's like,
really?
Yeah, it's like they went down into the Ciénaga where there was a flow of blah blah blah, and it's just like he's so descriptive. But then I'll read something like Joe Lansdale, which is he's very centered in East Texas, and he does a little bit of that, but not much. So it's really what's your knowledge base? How much research have you done? So really you got to play to your strengths. I know that's maybe not the answer that you wanted, but it's the answer you need.
I tell you what, you did the good one. It's worth reinforcing. We talk about it every so often. Like, if you really want to be a writer, then the best thing to do is just to sit down and fucking write. Like,
all the time.
Don't think about it. Just write stuff. Write whatever.
Every day.
Every single day. I mean, I heard a conversation one time with you and Cargill talking about writing where you'd said, like, just write like 10 pages every day and just shove them into don't even look at them. Just write and then throw that shit to the side and then start writing more and write. Same thing as the best artists that I know. All they do is just draw. You can't put a writing implement in their hand and there's a napkin around, they'll draw the Mona Lisa on it just because they can't stop. So yeah, if you want to write. Our next one comes in from Hakal. Wait, did he ever tell us how to say his name in a previous email?
I don't know.
Okay.
That sounds right, though.
Hey, Jeff and Jason, I have a question regarding horror movies, specifically about the use of jump scares. Recently, I read a movie review for The Quiet Ones, in which the author gave the movie a rating of 4 out of 5. I'm not sure if either of you have seen this movie, but I found it to be an average horror film which relied far too heavily on random jump scares, such as sudden loud sounds or having characters suddenly appear from off screen. Anyway, the reviewer went on to justify his rating by stating that a horror movie should be considered effective as long as it manages to scare you in some way, even if it does so by relying on jump scares. However, I disagree with this statement. I personally feel that random jump scares are lazy and that a good horror movie should generate fear by building atmosphere, suspense, and tension. My question is, what are your opinions on jump scares? Are they the only way in which a movie can scare viewers, or is there a better and more effective way? Thanks for reading my email, and keep up the great work as always. Best regards, Hakal.
Well, I think he's absolutely right. I did not see The Quiet Ones. Strangely enough, this girl I know, her husband was one of the producers on that.
What?
Yeah, I haven't checked it out, though. I really didn't hear much about it. I liked the trailer quite a bit. But I agree, jump scares are really ephemeral, and they're cheap and so easy. And as a testament to that, think of all of the little jump scare surprise videos online where a scary face pops up and goes, rah!
Right.
That's a jump scare.
Sure.
Anybody can do that.
Sure.
Anyone can do that.
Sure.
But as far as like building lasting atmosphere, suspense and tension, that's really what sticks with somebody. That is the one that's the movie that will stay with you. No, that is jump scares are not the only way. It's a way, but it's a cheap way, and it's not something that people are going to find very memorable.
You think so?
Yeah.
I disagree. In some cases. I mean, I think that I think that it depends on how you're using your jump scares.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you build up a lot of atmosphere and suspense,
right,
and then you release it with a jump scare,
yes,
that can be super effective.
Sure.
But a lot of people are just like, they'll just throw it in there just because they need a scare because they're following the scientific method of writing a script and say, oh, we need a scare every X pages.
Right. Well, no, and I guess the way, or part of the reason that I disagree is because I've seen a lot of horror movies, and as we all know, both you and I are pretty jaded horror movie watchers, and I will a lot of times get to the point where I'm watching a horror movie where they try to draw that suspenseful atmosphere for too long, and then it just...
Yeah, well,
it's like a balloon deflating.
Absolutely.
I just can't keep it up, right?
Well, it's really hard to maintain. Very few films are good at maintaining that. I think House of the Devil, which has its faults, it was a movie directed by Ty West.
Yeah.
But that's a master's class in building tension.
I mean, what was the one that had the Paranormal Investigators that came out last year?
You had Insidious 2?
No, Conjuring. It was The Conjuring.
Okay.
I thought The Conjuring was boring.
Okay.
And it's funny because I've known a lot of other people, and the problem was that I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
And then the payoff was kind of
the payoff
to me.
They didn't really know how to wrap it up.
And that was one of the biggest things where it's like, and I guess that's maybe what I'd like to say is that I've seen a number of different movies that will take suspense and fear over time of an atmosphere, and you gotta stick the landing, or else you've wasted my time. You've spent all this time building me into this. You've got me on the edge of my seat. I'm waiting for something to happen, and then if your monster comes out and it's just some dude in an ape suit, and you're just like, "Well, go fuck yourself. I don't care about that."
No, you're absolutely right.
On the other hand, if you look at a movie like Alien, that manages to keep you kind of on the edge of your seat the entire time. I just don't
with a great payoff.
I think that whenever anybody says jump scares, I always think about Event Horizon. Because the jump scares in Event Horizon they were telegraphed. Like, you tell that some shit was going to happen. But when it happened, it still was scary. And I think that it was the difference between a movie that's just scaring you and then moving on with interesting stuff, and scaring you and then moving on, that isn't building a palpable sense of dread. A lot of times can be fun because you're shifting between, I'm having a lot of fun. Oh my God, that was scary. I'm having a lot of fun. Instead of a movie that's oppressive with its atmosphere, wants you to be just chittering teeth, biting your fingernails type of thing.
Absolutely.
I think that they're both functional. And I think that as far as this guy that you're talking about that's reviewing this, that goes kind of back to what we were talking about reviews about. If you disagree with the guy, then I'm sure there are people out there who probably felt the same way that he did about that movie.
Yeah.
So now that you know that this guy relies on jump scares, it's actually you can take his reviews with a grain of salt, right? And be like, I know that he puts more stock in jump scares than I do, so maybe if he has a thing...
you find a critic who's in line with your predilections.
Right. Or just chop a star off everything this guy says,
Right.
All right, next one comes in from Admiral Allosaurus, who says, raging purveyors of face slaps and nut shots. Have you been on this show since you slapped me in the face?
I don't know.
No, you haven't. Fuck you. I hate you. The people on the show finding Bigfoot can eat my Jurassic Dino Schwartz. Nevertheless, I am transfixed by the possibility of a real Bigfoot. The reasons are twofold. One, as a former zoologist, I would find it fascinating to learn of an undocumented species of primate roaming the North American wilderness. Two, as an outdoorsman who is totally unafraid of bears, I don't know that I would ever be able to sleep outdoors again, knowing that watching me from the woods is an 8-foot-tall simian that only Loretta could tame. Regardless of whether they truly exist or not, is there any legendary creature slash mythological beast that you want to be real? Thanks for your indulgence, Admiral Allosaurus. Is it... Wait, okay, now, just going back to Sasquatch, Bigfoot, the Yeti, etc. I don't really want to slash this guy's hopes and dreams right directly down to the ground. So maybe skip forward a couple minutes, dude, if you want to continue to believe this. But wasn't there a thing where the guy that posed for those blurry pictures came out and showed the people the suit that they made?
Yeah, the truth has kind of faded into antiquity there. There have been some people who came forward and said, yes, it's true. And then other people who were like, no, that's not true. People who came forward and said, I was involved. And others who have come forward and said, no, he wasn't.
Yeah.
So the Patterson Gimlin tape is the one you're talking about.
Okay.
And that's the classic Bigfoot video. But there's all sorts of stuff. Like, we've got the Minnesota Iceman at the Museum of the Weird in downtown Austin, which is like some big Neanderthal Yeti-type creature frozen in ice, the missing link.
Okay.
And I'm fascinated by cryptids and cryptozoology. I read up on that stuff all the time, but I don't really believe in any of it. And I know there's still a lot of stuff about this world that we don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think Sasquatch is one of them.
Yeah.
Because it's big. They call him Bigfoot. For a reason. It's a big bipedal hairy guy, and there is just ubiquitous surveillance here on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And I got to think that if we were going to find something like that, we would have already found it by now. I don't want to say no. I'm one of those guys who wants to believe. I'm an open-minded skeptic.
Okay.
I want to believe, but I don't think we're going to.
Well, also you gotta say that if Bigfoot actually existed and he was like running around and stuff. Now that every single person in the entire world has a camera/video camera in their pocket, we should be seeing an increased number of sightings of Bigfoot, not decreased.
Yeah.
We were talking before about this in UFO terms about you. I think you should be seeing more of this stuff because everybody has the ability to just tape whatever.
But everybody also has the ability to fake whatever. So even videos aren't good enough. But I don't know if there were something that I would want to be real.
Yeah.
Hell, I have no idea. The
Jersey Devil.
The Barbary Lamb.
Uh-huh. What's that one?
That is it's a sheep that grows from a tree.
Yeah.
And that just sounds freaky.
Wait, what?
And non-threatening.
Tree sheep?
Yeah.
What does it do?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that was always one where I was like, ew, that's gruesome and weird.
Megalodon? Oh, wait. No, that's for realsies. Well, considered by some to still exist. I'm looking at a cryptid list here.
Yeah. But, everyone was saying, the colossal squid is a cryptid, and then they catch one on video. Or they find a carcass of one. I don't know if they've caught a colossal on video, but yeah, there's, all sorts of things are possible. It's a big world with a big deep sea, but
well, let's pick. His question was, if you could make one real, which one would it be?
I said the Barbary Lamb.
Okay, you think so?
Yeah.
I think I'm going through here. I liked the idea of
what was the one from the Indian movie with the severed head and the guts hanging out? Is that going to be on here?
Well, that's magic more. This is I think this is a little bit less magic. The Rat King. I love the Rat King.
Oh,
the rats with all the tails twisted together that become like super intelligent and shit like that. I love that idea.
Yeah, that's gruesome. Never mind. Okay. I almost said something that would get me into trouble.
Okay. Jackalopes. I go for jackalope. I bet they taste pretty good.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Or what was the other one I was just thinking of? Oh yeah,
I think it'd be pretty cool if Bigfoot was real.
I think the fact that that there's
I'm never going to run into him because I don't go outside.
That's right. I like the idea that there is a small body of water in Scotland that holds a sea dinosaur.
Yeah.
And that, like, you can't just sit over that water with a helicopter and look down at it and see if it's there or not.
Yep. Exactly.
I love the idea of the Loch Ness Monster. All right, another question here. This one is a very strange question. This one is from Jackson. It says, "Dearest anointed lords of Doncules.
It's Doncules. That's what he meant.
I've been a big fan of Rage Select since its inception and its predecessor back in the old country. My question for you, if suicide were inexplicably impossible for whatever reason, and you had to choose between these two permanent life options, what would you choose? Option A, you live life as you normally do, except for the fact that music no longer holds any sort of enjoyment whatsoever. In fact, you can no longer hear it. Put on a CD, nothing. Turn on Spotify, nothing. Go to a concert, all you hear are fat, loud, sweaty people jumping up and down and shouting, yeah. Musicians now appear to be doing an elaborate mime act. Or option B, life as usual, except sexual gratification by any and all means is no longer possible. Your sex drive does not decrease. You just have no means to do anything about it. Simply put, your dong refuses to rise to any occasion, no matter how, and no amount of Viagra or therapy can fix this. It's like pushing rope. Apologies for the long question. Keep on doing what you guys do. It's comedy gold, Jackson.
Jackson.
This is an easy one.
I know Jackson.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is an easy one. A.
Yeah.
Yeah, music can go fuck itself.
Well, I mean, like,
I'm not doing anything that inhibits my wiener.
That's right. Like, music is cool and everything, but, like, especially, I guess, that option B might have had some... The thing is that there's no payoff for either one of these. It's not like you can't listen to music anymore.
Like, I don't have to hear the Black Keys anymore?
Right.
Great.
In fact, the only time that option A would be a problem is when you went to the bar and they were playing the music really loud and you're just having to have a conversation with your friends at a normal level and they're all just like, what did you say?
Speak up.
But yeah, like especially the clause in option B that says your sex drive does not decrease, but you just can't do anything about it.
Yeah, hell with that.
I would become a murderer.
That's madness right there. I love it that he puts up there, hey, suicide's not an option.
Right.
He lays that out right up front.
Yeah, I can honestly say that there is no... when I read this question, I was like, well, duh.
You can take my music. You can take my video games, my comic books.
Sure.
My movies.
Yep.
Don't take my boners.
I'll even say that I would be willing if option A were you can drink whatever, but you can never get drunk anymore. I'd still pick option A. If it was all food loses its sense of taste, I'll even say this. If it was you can't hear music, you can't get drunk, and you can't taste any food anymore, or option B, I'd still pick option A.
Amen.
So, yeah, Jackson, that was a good try.
Nice try.
You're going to need to...
Good effort.
You're going to need to up the pot. Like, if option B was that,
He clearly underestimated how important boners are to us.
What if option B was that, but you could also read people's minds?
Oh.
You can't... Your sex drive doesn't go down, and you can't do anything with your junk, but you can read every single person's mind.
Oh, my God, dude. Oh, my God.
I still think you just become a serial killer, right?
I would, because I love me some mind reading.
Well, I
I'd be
do
all about that.
I do.
That's tough. That's tough. Next question.
All right, next question. This one comes in from Frankie. Frankie says, "Hello, Jeff and Jason. My name is Mert Master on the site, but my real name is Frankie from merry old England.
Hello.
My friends and I were talking the other day about places to live, and we just all finished university and are unfortunately living back with the parents until we gather enough money for a place of our own. Someone mentioned the possibility of moving to the States for a change of scenery, also thinking our British accents will get us all the women. One place that was mentioned was California. I've never been to America. In fact, I've only been to 3 countries. So my question is California a good place to live, or could you recommend another place for us? I'm a huge fan of the site. You guys have helped me a lot since the glory days of university have finished. Keep on raging, and all hail Dongocles. I think we need
to standardize the spelling of
yeah, because this is Dongocles. Frankie.
Yeah, Frankie. I've never lived in California, so I can't say. I know that it is very expensive. I've only spent a couple of weeks out there. I've spent about 3 weeks total in my entire life. 4.
Yeah.
2 weeks in San Francisco, 2 weeks in Los Angeles. Liked them both to varying degrees. They all had their ups and downs. Anything you could possibly want is there. And great weather.
Yep.
Oh, my God, great weather.
Fantastic.
Another place to live, I don't know.
I'm going to say, I hope you guys all have, degrees in high-paying jobs, because it's super goddamn expensive to live in California.
It really is. And the economy as a whole is just kind of boned.
Yeah.
Austin is kind of a mess. It's growing too quickly. The traffic is horrendous.
Yes, please don't come to Austin. We love you and everything, but please don't come to Austin.
Well, no, for your own good.
Yeah.
Seriously, us aside. The property values are skyrocketing. It's impossible to rent anywhere. San Francisco's the same way.
Sure.
Los Angeles, though, I mean, if you're going to live in California, where? What are you talking about in California? You talking about San Diego?
San Jose might be.
San Jose, very, very tech-heavy in the Silicon Valley.
I went to...
very clean. It's like living in a fucking strip mall.
Yeah.
In a very clean strip mall.
Yeah.
Devoid of personality.
Yeah, but you can drive to
But you can drive to L.A. You
Yeah.
can drive to San Francisco.
You can move to Vegas.
I've always been curious about Northern California.
Northern California?
Yeah.
I'm not. All I know is I drove through the redwoods on my way out to Washington. I didn't stop for any good reason.
That looks cool. A lot of people are moving to Portland.
Yep.
Portland's a big destination.
Yeah, Portland's supposed. When I lived in Seattle many years ago, it was the story was that Portland was what Seattle was like before everybody from California moved there.
Right. Chapel Hill, South Carolina, I think it is. I've heard that was a cool place. Nashville, is supposed to be just completely badass.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would do if I was him.
I hear good things about Kansas City, Missouri. Actually,
what I would do if I was him was I wouldn't. Don't listen to pop culture.
Yeah.
Don't listen to New York City. Don't give a shit about Austin.
Yeah.
Don't listen to L.A. Go find the people online and do some research into it who are saying
travel. Go visit first.
Well, that are like that. Chattanooga is what Austin was 20 years ago, or something like that.
Yeah.
Go find that place that's still on the up and up and make sure that it's got some stuff to it. Because, I mean, I don't know. If you guys are all like both super, if you all came out of university and are super awesome professionals that know how to make a whole hell of a lot of money, then I don't know. Maybe California will work out for you.
Yeah, but the job market's rough, so do your homework. Maybe come over here for a vacation and just travel the country and try stuff out, see what you like.
Sure.
And look at the job markets. But yeah, a lot of places in California are very, very expensive.
Yeah. So I would recommend California for your first dip. Or if you're going to go to California, do it, don't sign a 6-year lease and then buy a car and then take out 6 credit cards or anything. Like, maybe live like real easy going in case you got to fold it all up and get the fuck out of there. All right, we got 2 more questions, one long and one short. So this is our last long question. Hello, Rage Select crew. I use the internet for pretty much all my entertainment needs. My girlfriend and I watch Netflix religiously. I play a lot of games online, watch a lot of YouTube shows, and now and then torrent stuff I can't find anywhere else. But a while back, Comcast jacked up their prices and then began to slow down my speed to Netflix, so I made the change to AT&T. The service was about the same, and the price was all right, but at least they weren't making any ass pulls. What's an ass pull?
I don't know
what an ass pull is. But today, with Comcast purchasing Time Warner Cable and AT&T buying DirecTV, I've recently become very worried with the subject of net neutrality, with major TV
as you should be
internet providers currently attempting to shape legislature about the proper use of bandwidth and competition shrinking. I fear companies will decide to slow down content providers like Netflix, YouTube, or Steam to double their profits. What do you guys think about this? Will this be the next SOPA, or am I worrying over nothing? Thanks for answering my question. Looking forward every week to the Cheesy Gordita Crunch podcast. Leonardo from Houston. So I thought there was a change they made recently, and people can tell me how wrong I am, like they do.
They did, but I still think the language is kind of broken. But go ahead.
Well, where they said that like you can't throttle the speed that a consumer pays for.
Did they say you can't throttle?
You cannot throttle.
Okay, that's very good.
Right. That what they said was that if I pay for X megabits per second, you can't make Rage Select slower than Netflix, which is what they wanted to do before. What they can do, though, is like, let's say you pay for 10 megabits a second. That's your internet connection. They can't slow Rage Select down to 5 megabits. But Netflix can pay to serve that to you at 20 megabits a second, regardless of what you pay for.
See, I think that sounds fair, right? But I don't know the language. I don't know what kind of caveats there are. I do know that just the internet in general in the United States is broken.
It's pretty fucked. I brought this up because I wanted to just briefly say that like this is the thing in politics that I care about more than anything else. Is net neutrality, because more than anything else in this entire world, the internet has changed life on this planet on a daily basis. I was shipping shirts to frickin' the Republic of Moldova. That couldn't happen before the internet. We wouldn't have enough of an audience if we had to do this shit local. If we were doing this shit at a theater or something and people had to come down, we'd
get like 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
It'd be the same people all the time.
Right. And the way that we communicate, the way that we buy stuff, the way that we get content, all the best things that have happened and some of the worst things that have happened over the last, 10, 15 years, have a lot of them have stemmed from the internet and the connectivity that we have. Information is freer. You get more easy access to stuff. I mean, you remember back in the days when you'd have somebody had a tape of something they saw on the news.
Yeah.
Now it's YouTube.
Or if you wanted to know what something was, you'd have to go to the library.
Right. Or people would tell you misinformation and you'd believe it for years. There's no way to check it.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre was real.
Now you've got all that shit on your phone, in your pocket. And I know that a lot of times this seems like...
A lot of it is wrong.
Well, it seems like the whole net neutrality thing, I can already hear the response. It's like, well, they get to be faster. What does that have to do with anything? Jeff, you're overreacting. You go, it's the same for all of us. But there are plenty of people like my parents or your parents or people who don't give a shit about this stuff, who all they're going to see is that IGN has the money to be faster. So why is IGN so fast and why is Rage Select so slow?
Right.
I'm going to go to IGN.
It's still taking power away from the people and putting it in the hands of big business.
Right. And that's what I hate about it is the fact that it's being changed not because there's any good tangible reason, but because these fuckers want more money.
Yeah.
That's all that it is. You've got this thing that's a resource that's essentially changed the face of mankind. Yeah. And then you've got the dudes over at Verizon like, we deserve more money.
Oh, I know.
And it's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, don't get me started on big business and the government, Leonardo, because I'm already probably on a watch list because of hacking the system. So it's the Black Army helicopters are going to come down over Casa Rage Select, and there's going to be a SEAL team that's going to take us for extraordinary rendition or something like that.
Sure. I don't know.
You're guilty by association, man.
If it hasn't happened,
you down with me.
If it hasn't happened by now, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean,
you didn't see the books I ordered off of Amazon the other day.
Oh, right. Because you're talking about hacking the system, not Rage Select.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the idea that anybody in our government or anybody anywhere would consider doing this so that companies can make more money.
Well, they're all bought and sold.
I know.
They don't work for us.
Well, I know. But it's like, it's one of the most important things I think has ever happened, and I think that people don't even know about it. Like, you were able to whip everybody up into a frenzy over SOPA, but the thing is that when that happened, I was a little skeptical because I was like, just because you beat this shit back doesn't mean it's gone.
Oh, yeah.
These people have billions of dollars and decades to make this shit happen.
And they know about our attention spans or lack of such.
The only thing that I feel is going to get around this is if Google Fiber manages to happen, and then it's like, well, everything occurs at light speed. Who gives a fuck if it's 0.1 light speed less?
Yeah.
You know?
Sure, throttle it. I'm not going to notice.
Yeah, exactly. Is that this stuff is so fast that who the fuck's going to notice? What I worry, though, is that this shit is going to then affect the fiber, where they're going to say that they're going to put like some kind of bandwidth cap on what you can actually offer people as far as home internet speeds go, just so that these people can eke out another dollar. And it's like, you're hindering the progress of human culture so that some asshole can buy a second Lamborghini, you know? Like,
absolutely. I bet they're trying. I bet they're probably trying to put caps on bandwidth to say you can only do it at these speeds because Google's the only one who's capable of that.
Right.
So if the competitors can't do it, well, we're not going to let Google do it either.
Did we learn nothing from Tucker? Did we learn nothing from that? Like,
exactly.
I've seen this exact same story play out over and over again, but now the fact that what they're doing has the potential to harm my livelihood.
Yeah.
Like, it has the potential to make Rage Select slower, and for me, my only option to be like, well, Rage Select can be slow, or I can pull magically $200,000 a year out of my ass to pay my internet tax to be as fast as Netflix. Like, yeah. So, you know what, Leonardo? It is something you should be worried about. It's something that you should find out all the details, and by God, I don't know all the details. I could have gotten all that first part wrong, but you should find the details. You should talk to your friends. You should make other people aware of it whenever possible. And I'm guilty of not finding those details and using this one place as a platform for this one thing that I care about, but fuck, man, shit's important.
It is. It is
really important.
So, pay attention. If you're in the United States, if you're the voting type, vote on your senators and your congressmen and everything.
Sure.
And we should move on before I get arrested.
Yep. All right. So, yes, Leonardo, it's a very important thing, and it's shitty. And one more question. This one's real short. Jason. Hey guys, I'm in New Zealand, and we've got a couple of American guys staying with us. One of them is from Austin and has never heard of gyms.
What?
Should I trust him?
That probably means he's a decent human being, Jeremy. It probably means that he's not some sort of rogue or rapscallion.
Yeah.
He's probably okay. If he has heard of gyms, ask him under what circumstances he's been there. Has he ever thrown up in the bathroom? What does he order?
Is he in New Zealand because he pulled a urinal off the wall of gyms and threw it on the ground? He had to get out of the country.
Yeah. So, you know what? I think that's forgivable.
I hadn't heard about gyms until, call it a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Because I go to Whataburger.
Yeah,
right? And then one day I was like, do you guys want to go to Whataburger or Kirby Lane or something? And they're like, well, gyms is right around the corner. And I'm like, I've never been to gyms. And they're like, oh, you have to go to gyms.
No, it's Jeremy. He's probably okay.
Yeah. I love this.
If you love this friend, maybe don't tell him about gyms.
I drove past gyms. Like, it's in like the one at 183 in Burnett, right?
Yeah.
It's on a major thoroughfare. You can see the sign from the flyover from a few different highways. I drove past that building for like 15 to 20 years and didn't go in until 2 years ago because it looked like a shithole.
Oh, it
is a shithole.
It is a shrine to sadness.
Yes. And I love it. I love it so goddamn much. All right, folks. Well, that's all the questions. That's all our emails. That's our show for this week. If you guys want to send your questions in, mail@rageselect.com is email address. That's mail@rageselect.com. I'm going to tell you guys, keep a close eye on the site next week, as we're probably going to be announcing a little shindig, maybe something a little bit extra. So just keep an eye on the posts that we've got coming up. We'll be outlining in detail the stuff that's happening soon enough. Jason, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And good night.